Hello and welcome to my Sky Bet Championship Game Week 1 predictions. We've got some big games this weekend, including Birmingham, Ipswich Friday night, Southampton, Wrexham, and then the battle of the ownership troubles of Leicester and Sheffield Wednesday. So yeah, don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you do like this content. And let's just dive straight into my Championship Game Week 1 predictions. So the first game is the blockbuster on Friday night, and it is Birmingham taking on Ipswich at a sold-out St Andrews. This is going to be an absolute blockbuster of a game. It's probably one of the two promotion favourites going head-to-head as well. Pre-seasons haven't been bad for both sides. Ipswich have beaten Aberdeen, Charlton and Auxerre in their pre-season. Birmingham have beat Sevilla, which was pretty good. They've lost to Burton, they did beat Port Vale, and they lost to Northampton with their backup side, remember, and beating Nottingham Forest. As a Birmingham fan, I hope we do win this game and get off to a good start. It's important to get off to a quick start. Season before last was a 2-2 draw, was I think Wayne Rooney's first home game in charge of Birmingham, and then that lasted long, didn't it? And there was a 3-1 loss under Tony Mowbray, I believe, or Mark Venus, whoever was in charge. And 4 wins for Birmingham, 8 draws and 6 wins for Ipswich. Injuries, no Wes Burns in there. For a starter, I am going to back a 2-2 draw. I think this will be a brilliant game of football. Maybe Ipswich take the lead, Birmingham hit back 2-1, and then it goes to 2-2. Maybe something along those lines. But yeah, I'm backing a Desmond for the opening day of the season, and a 2-2 draw between Birmingham and Ipswich would suit that. And I think it'd be a 2-2 draw between Birmingham and Ipswich, and I expect an absolute blockbuster. On to the 12:30 on the Saturday, and it is another newly promoted side as Charlton take on Watford, of course, in a bit of a London derby. This one, Charlton's pre-season hasn't been amazing, as we know. They've beaten teams like Dartford 3-2. Who else have they beaten? Gorica as well. Somewhere they've been on a tour somewhere in Europe. Lost to Ipswich and have beaten Southend in there as well. Watford beating Deportivo La Coruña in their game by a 0-0 in pre-season. Last time these sides played was a 5-0 win for Watford back in January 2015 and 2014. In September, it was a 1-0 win for Charlton. Watford were in the Premier League last time. Charlton were in the Championship, I believe. 3 wins apiece on the head-to-heads, 1 draw in there too. Charlton under Nathan Jones will want to hit back. Paolo Petzolano still getting used to this league. I am going to back Charlton for an opening day victory here over Watford. I'm going to back Charlton to win this by a 0-0 over Watford. Quite comfortable. Well, a bit of a scrappy Nathan Jones kind of win, and Watford will be quite defensive, I imagine. So yeah, back in Charlton to win this by a 0-0 over Watford. And another game at 12:30 is Coventry City taking on Hull, one of the favourites for the playoffs, taking on one of the favourites to get relegated. Of course, Coventry favourites to get in the playoffs, Hull favourites to get relegated. Coventry haven't had a decent pre-season. They've had an okay one. They've lost to Monaco 5-0, and then they beat Bristol Rovers by 2-0, drawing Real Betis and St Pauli in there as well. Hull have drew to Getafe, but not really anything to go by for Hull City. They beat Sunderland as well. The last time they did play last season was 1-1 draw on Easter Monday, and back in December was a 2-1 home win for Coventry. I think Sergej Kirovic is not a great appointment for Hull City, a Bosnian coach that doesn't know the Championship at all. I think Frank Lampard's side will be quite comfortable and will win this quite comfortably. You would imagine at the CBS and Coventry at home, Coventry at home are a very, very difficult proposition to face. So yeah, I'm going to back Coventry City and Frank Lampard in this one. I think they're going to have too much quality over Hull City, and Hull might look a bit complacent as well. So yeah, I'm going to back Coventry by 2-1 in this one. I think it will be quite a tight game, but I think Coventry will just get over the line in this one. Yes, they do sometimes start a bit crap, do Coventry, but I think they'll get off to a flyer here and beat Hull City by 2-1. Now we go to St Mary's as Southampton take on Wrexham in Wilstor's first game in charge. Newly promoted Wrexham go into St Mary's, a very, very tough place to go on the opening day of the season. Unless it's the first meeting between these two sides, of course, in any league format. Unless there was something before football was an app. So, definitely haven't played each other recently. Wrexham have had a decent pre-season themselves. They've beaten Melbourne Victory. They have lost to Sydney and Wellington Phoenix, so maybe not a great pre-season. Southampton have lost most of their... Well, they lost to Espanyol before fighting against Brighton for a 2-2 draw, so they have got it in them to be a Premier League side. I think Will Still is definitely a good coach at this level, and we know he hasn't proved it, but he has proved it in France and Belgium, of course, that he is a decent coach at this level, and I think Southampton will bounce back at the first occasion and will get promoted in the automatic spots, of course. Wrexham, Phil Parkinson's side, they'll want to try and... I think they'll be happy with the draw here at St Mary's, because a newly promoted side going to a relegated side on the opening day will prove difficult for Wrexham, you would imagine. But I am going to back the Saints in this one just to get over the line. I think it will be a 3-1 Southampton win. I think Wrexham might be quite open, which could lead to more goals, as we know. But yeah, I'm backing Southampton to win this by 3-1 over Wrexham here. And now into the 3 o'clockers as Middlesbrough take on Swansea City at the Riverside. Swansea and Middlesbrough both themselves haven't had a great pre-season, really. Middlesbrough losing to Bradford in pre-season, drawing with Rangers and drawing with Hartlepool, as Swansea have lost to Exeter and Cheltenham in there as well. So yeah, not great for these two sides in pre-season. Josh Sheehan, is it the coach at Swansea? Alan Sheehan, sorry. Middlesbrough's under Rob Edwards needs to probably kickstart quickly, otherwise he will become under pressure from the board and the fans very quickly at Middlesbrough, as well. Middlesbrough always have had poor starts. Look at Michael Carrick, and who else have they had in recent years? Aitor Karenka, I think, had a poor start when he was there, but they have eventually got them in the playoffs, and eventually Karenka did get them promoted. So yeah, Swansea, Alan Sheehan, a bit of a risky appointment after sacking Luke Williams. Yes, he did well under his caretaker charge first season in the job, of course, but yeah, I think Middlesbrough are just going to edge this one. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Middlesbrough home win in this one over Swansea City, and just beat the Welsh side out in this one. So yeah, I'm back in Middlesbrough to beat Swansea by a 0-0 here. Now to Carrow Road as Norwich City take on Millwall. Norwich have had a decent enough pre-season. They did beat NC Breda 2-1. They didn't beat Den Haag. They drew with Den Haag. They lost to Olympiacos and drew with Volendam. So actually not that good. Maybe it was Millwall's form I was looking at, who beat Sutton by 6-2. Wimbledon by 3-0. Elche they did lose to 2-1. Yeah, Liam Manning will be looking to get Norwich City in the playoffs after he did so with Bristol City last year. These two sides played each other last season. 2-1 win for Norwich and 3-1 win for Millwall on Easter Monday. I think Norwich should get over the line in this one. They'll be definitely hoping to get in the playoffs probably. They've still got Josh Sargent away available. Borja Sainz is still there as well. So yeah, they'll still be trying to get in the playoffs, will Norwich City. Millwall will be probably having the same aspirations under Alex Neil after just missing out last season. Millwall always seem to just miss out on those playoff places. I am going to back Norwich City in this one to kickstart their season. I'm going to go with a 3... Or do I? No, I'm going to go for a goal fest. A 3-2 win for Norwich City in this one. I think it could be a bit of a bonkers game of football, this one. I think Norwich will just get over the line against Millwall in this one and win by 3-2. So yeah, backing Norwich to win and beat Millwall by 3-2 here. Now it is to the Kassam Stadium as Oxford United take on Portsmouth. Gary Rowett's side have had an okay pre-season, or yes, they have. They have won 6-3 against Indonesia All-Stars. Not sure what they did playing in Indonesia, tour in Indonesia. Then they beat Arema 4-0. Then they lost in the second half, is it? No, they played 2 games against Arema. Port FC has just looked the same badge. But yeah, and then they drew with the Leganes in their final pre-season match. Portsmouth drew 0-0 with Haverton Waterloo, not a great result. Did beat Reading 4-0 though as well. That's all I've got data-wise for Portsmouth on pre-season. Last time they played last season was a 2-0 win for Portsmouth back in February. And 5th of October was a 1-1 draw at Fratton Park, I should say. So John Mousinho did a really good job last season, looking to build on that for the upcoming season, won't he? Gary Rowett should keep Oxford up because he's just a brilliant coach at this level and knows how to keep a team up. So yeah, this one's a tight one to call. I'm going to back a 1-1 draw in this one. I think it would just be safe to go with the draw in this one. Yeah, I think Oxford and Portsmouth will be just cancel each other out on opening day. I don't think either team will want to win, or I think a draw is probably a safe result for both sides as well. So yeah, Oxford 1, Portsmouth 1 here. Now we go to Julian Stefan's first game in charge of Queen's Park Rangers as they take on Paul Heckingbottom and Preston North End. Queen's Park Rangers did lose in the most recent pre-season match to Brentford. Bolton also beat Preston. They've had an okay pre-season. They've beat QPR, they beat Toulouse in there, but they've also lost 6-0 to Castellón. But that might be a backup side. Just let me know it down below, QPR fans. Preston have lost to Liverpool, only 3-1 in pre-season, not bad. Getafe 0-0 draw as well. That's not bad against the Liga side either, and they've obviously lost to Bolton. Last time these sides played last season was 2-1 win for QPR on Good Friday at Deepdale, and then back at Loftus Road in December. It was a 2-1 win for Queen's Park Rangers. This one might be a bit of cancelling each other out, but I do think QPR might just get over the line in this one. I'm going back Queen's Park Rangers to win by a 0-0. Just a very tight match, but I think QPR will just get over the line here and beat Preston North End by a 0-0. So yeah, a good start for Julian Stefan, and it's a win, and it's 3 points. So yeah, QPR 1, Preston 0 is my prediction here. And two sides that met on the final day of last season, who were fighting to get to stay up, of course, are now fighting on the opening day together. Stoke will be taking on Derby County. Stoke City have done okay pre-season, only got 2 games, but they did draw against Wolves and did beat Burnley, which isn't bad for Mark Robbins' side. There might be a bit of early pressure if they don't get off to the best start. Mark Robbins' sides, traditionally looking at his Coventry sides, haven't got off to the best start. Derby in pre-season have been okay. They've drew away to Matlock, which isn't great. They beat Salzburg in there. They beat Walsall, they've lost to Burton, and beat Solihull Moors in there. So a bit of a mixed bag for Derby County. They travel to a Stoke side that will be definitely under pressure from the word go in this 25-26 season. They did play each other last season. It was a 0-0 draw and a 2-1 win for Stoke back in November. So, yes, I am going to back... Who do I back in this one? I'm going to back John Eustace's Derby in this one to get a 2-1 away victory, just because John Eustace's sides always start well. Mark Robbins' Coventry sides usually start poorly. So that is the... I have gone on that nature. So yeah, I'm going to back John Eustace's Derby to get over the line in this one and beat Stoke City quite comfortably. Well, not comfortably, but John Eustace, it's never a comfortable game when John Eustace is involved. But yeah, I'm going to back Derby to win this by 2-1 and John Eustace and Derby to start with a winning start here. And the final 3 p.m. kickoff, and it is West Bromwich Albion taking on Valérien Ismaël's Blackburn. Valérien Ismaël going back to West Bromwich Albion and the Hawthorns, of course. West Brom have beaten Rayo Vallecano in their most recent pre-season match, as did Blackburn. They beat another Spanish outfit in Elche, of course. West Brom also have lost to Lincoln in there. They drew with Dinamo Kiev. Blackburn have beat Qatar SC, not the national team. They've beaten Everton as well. Blackburn, they've got a few ownership issues. I probably put them a bit too high, up in 10th in my predictions. I put this as probably a mid-table clash for what it will be at the end of the season. Maybe they did play each other last season. Blackburn got the job done when Tony Mowbray was back in charge of one of his first games, back in charge of West Bromwich Albion, of course, by winning. Blackburn took that by 2-0, and then it was a 0-0 draw back in October. Valérien Ismaël, the Blackburn will probably take staying up the season, maybe a push to playoffs if they can, but you never want to know with what's going on with the ownership there. Blackburn always seem to do all right at West Brom though, don't they? This is a really tough one to call. I am gonna back Blackburn, or do I? No, I'm gonna back a 1-1 draw. I think splitting it down the middle is the safe option here. Valérien Ismaël going back to West Brom, we don't know what to expect really. But yeah, I'm going to back West Brom and Blackburn to play out a 1-1 draw here, and it'll be a safe, sound draw for both teams, and they both won't want to lose on opening day. And then into Saturday night's game, as it is a redo of the playoffs, of course, where Sheffield United take on Bristol City, playoff semi-final, of course, where Sheffield United did annihilate Bristol City twice. Sheffield United beat York 6-2 in pre-season. They've gone to beat Burton. I think every championship side's played Burton this season. In pre-season, they beat Chesterfield, but then they lost to Nice at home in their most recent one. Bristol City have beaten Plymouth, I believe. Yes, they have done. They beat Newport as well, and they've drew with Cheltenham. Not a great pre-season for Gerhard Struber's side. This will be a completely different game to what the playoff game was, because you got Ruben Selles in the dugout at Sheffield United, and at Bramall Lane you got Gerhard Struber in the dugout at Bristol City. So I still expect Sheffield United to win, but it'll be a completely different game of football and probably a lot tighter game of football. I am still going to back Sheffield United to win this. I'm going to go for a 2-0 home victory in this one for Sheffield United. So yeah, I think they will get over the line, even with the new coach of Ruben Selles, because Bristol City have to adapt to a new coach as well. So yeah, I'm going for Sheffield United 2, Bristol City 0. And then it is the battle of the ownership problems. It is Leicester City taking on Sheffield Wednesday. Both these sides could get points deductions come the end of the season, of course. Sheffield Wednesday, Danny Rails left. They've got all sorts of problems off the pitch with Chansiri, as we know, and players not getting paid. Head-to-heads, they did play each other the season before last in 23-24. It was a 1-1 draw in November, and then a 2-0 win back in February for Leicester City. Of 2024, of course, not 2025, because Leicester in the Premier League then. Yeah, I can see a similar result to what it was back in 2024. I think Cifuentes is a smart coach, a very good coach as well. I did see also that Sheffield Wednesday have sold out their relegation, so they are not stopping the support, even with the ownership issues off the pitch. I still think that might be Leicester are going to be too much for Sheffield Wednesday in this one. Sadly for Sheffield Wednesday fans, I think they're going to struggle, and I think Leicester City will win this 3-0. They've had a decent pre-season, only losing one of their pre-season matches to Cologne, and I think Leicester will win and beat Sheffield Wednesday by 3-0 here. So yeah, Leicester win this by 3-0 over Sheffield Wednesday here. Thank you very much for watching my Championship Game Week 1 predictions. If you did like the video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and click the bell as well for notifications. We'll be back for Premier League predictions tomorrow, so don't forget to check those out. Check the Championship predictions out before the first game on Friday as well, if you haven't already. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'll speak to you all on the next one.